On this week's episode, we're going to be talking about seconds versus dollars. Hey everyone, welcome back to this week's episode. I am Chad Owen, the Annuity Sales Coach, and right now we have Pinky in the brain. So Pinky, because this guy just gets sunburned all the time, and the brain, just because it's self-explanatory. So this is going to be, this guy just can't, I don't need sunscreen. Yes, you do. No, absolutely you do.
I don't wear sunscreen.
Well, I usually don't either, but you know what? We can never call me Pinky and you the brain. No, that just won't work. No, so
we'd just both be Pinky at that point.
That's true. And no brains because we didn't use sunscreen. Yep, we got a good topic, and I'm fired up because I've been dealing with TSP right now, trying to get money moved for 2 months and been on hold for 117 minutes, an hour and 17 minutes to be told I need to be transferred to the department. So I'm a little worked up.
Yeah.
I don't like it when people will not let go of someone else's money, which is not theirs, but that's a whole nother thing. So this might tie into seconds versus dollars.
It very well might. Seconds versus
I'm
dollars.
going to send a bill to TSP for the time I've been on hold, and they're going to pay me what I make per hour.
It's funny because I did an actual calculation just based on some generic 40-hour week, somebody that writes $2 million a year, average, say, by the time you factor in SPIAs, MIGAs, older clients, shorter surrender period. Yeah. Average of 6% commission. They've got about a $58 per hour rate, somebody that's writing $2 million a year. Doing 40 hours a week.
Do you figure out what I make per hour?
I didn't do the math.
Because I'm about to build TSP.
Yeah, so. We can do that here in a minute, and we can send them a bill. But it's funny to me because very, very often I come across agents that they may even be writing good numbers and doing just fine, but the value that they place is actually more on the dollar than on their time. And obviously there's a threshold there, right? There's a point where maybe you don't have the capital and you need to actually spend the time and do it yourself. But the other side of that is the more time you spend doing something that isn't directly leading to you writing more business, there's another cost at hand, and it's the cost of missed business.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, we talk about this even for your vacations and stuff.
Which I try and not calculate.
Yeah. Well,
I mean let's just know if I average $1 million per week and I'm taking 4 weeks off.
That's that.
But as I've said before, I would do that any day, all day long to spend time with my wife.
Totally.
And I'm not being corny. I mean, legit.
Yeah.
Just getting that time to enjoy with my wife or with my family. You know what I figured out? We're probably not going to be able to do a family vacation this year.
Why is that?
Well, because we have, you could get time off because all you have to do is ask me. But we have my youngest daughter in college. We have my oldest son-in-law. He is just, iron handcuffs,
Yeah.
And then, of course, it's just tough. So we'll figure it out.
But to your point about the vacation, right?
Thank you
and
for
this
getting
is
us sent back.
This is the Chad conundrum here. But you can insert whatever it is. But for Chad, you take a week off, let's say, and let's say that vacation costs you $10,000-$15,000 to go and do, which that may be a little bit on the low end. I'm not sure.
No, that's actually that's right? Actually maybe a little high.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean we stay in medium hotels.
Okay.
And I would say we're pretty good at what we spend.
But if you're writing $1 million a week, that $10,000 vacation is
$65,000.
Yeah. So you can do the math and realize real quickly that for somebody at a production level like Chad, the biggest cost is not the cost of the vacation, it's the cost of the missed business. Now you can insert anything into that. You could put in branding. Somebody that's like, well, I don't want to pay to have a logo done. I'm just going to figure out how to do it. Yeah. Well, what's the missed business? What's the time there?
Well,
that you're
for me,
investing
for the
into
vacation, if I don't do that, I'll crash and burn pretty quick.
Sure.
I mean, you saw that in 2020. I went 6 months off or something without a vacation, and everything felt it.
Yeah, when COVID hit, you were just going all year long, really. And I mean, the last quarter for you in 2020, which is typically your best quarter of the year, it was the worst quarter you've had in quite a while, actually, like any quarter.
Yeah. So, I mean, you could look at that every way. You know, you don't take time off to relax. Number one, you don't get to enjoy why you do what you do with the ones you love most. But the other thing is physically, you can't handle it. I mean, it gets pretty tough. But I also look at the branding and the website as well, because they say, well, I don't want to spend $5,000 on a website. Do you know how many people look at your website before they'll ever meet with you? Like, even if you have a scheduled appointment, I can't even tell you the number of times I've heard someone, yeah, I've already looked at all your stuff.
Right.
I already went to your website.
Oh,
I already checked you out on BBB. I already looked at your National Ethics Association. They've done that.
Yeah.
So you could say, I don't want to spend $5,000. Well, the thing that's crazy about that is literally that takes an $80,000 annuity approximately to pay for that $80,000-$90,000 annuity. Why wouldn't you?
Right. I saw 3 third-party studies that showed that all 3 of these third-party studies indicated that over 70% of consumers will visit a company's website or business's website before they ever even present themselves in the physical person to that business, before they even step through a door. So if you're trying to book appointments out there with people that are looking you up and trying to figure you out, I mean, that's just a tough thing.
Yeah. Did you hit the timer?
I did hit the timer.
With you there, you know, with your mouth, we're just going to keep going and going and going.
We just may have an hour-long podcast
exactly.
today.
We break it into 4 sections. Hey, that might not be a bad idea. And Caleb continued again.
Yep.
Yeah. So, you know, and it's the cost of not doing leads. I just talked to a well-producing agent. And I said, so how are your leads going? He goes, I shut them off. I'm like, what? Well, you know, I have a reserve of leads going on, and I just shut them off. And I'm like, why would you do that? Because you just proved to the lead company that you're seasonal.
Yeah.
And people ask often, I mean, there's agents all throughout the United States that, you know, will turn their leads off and on, and it does nothing for the lead company because they don't show you're consistent, number one. Number two, I have agents even that listen to this podcast consistently. They're incredibly frustrated because they can't get any leads in Austin and San Antonio. But I've spent 16 years between here and Colorado, actually more like 15 years, because I think 15 years now is about when I started advertising. I was still doing mortgage protection and life insurance, but for sure 14 years of solid annuity lead marketing.
Yeah.
And they know I never shut them off.
Period, you've been buying.
And so why would they go to a brand new person or a person who's been doing it for a few years that they don't know and go, I wonder if they're going to be consistent?
Not to mention, should you hit a season where you need more lead flow and you call the lead company up and you're like, guys, we've got to figure this out. I need more leads. Are they going to turn down and say, sorry, man, there's nothing we can do to somebody that's been a loyal customer for 14 years straight? Probably not. They're probably going to figure out a way, okay, we need to try and get Chad an extra 2-3 leads a week if we can.
Yeah.
And that's a lot for a lot of people.
And the least I think one organization I've been with for a year, and that's because they just started, probably another one for 2 years, but then the other ones, it's been since the beginning. Yeah. And they just know that Chad will not turn off his leads. Right. So the cost of not buying a $350 lead is far greater by what you could potentially get in business versus, I mean, I was posting how I think I was at 22 million for the year. This was a couple months ago. And some guy goes, wow, your leads are really expensive. I'm like, I'm paying $350 for a lead, and I have 22 million on for the year.
Right. Your cost of new acquisition, like client acquisition, is a little over $1,000. By the time you factor in,
well, you don't have to tell me that. Yeah. That sounds like a lot.
Well, but if your average case size is $440,000, it's like the ROI is like you're well into like 25x ROI or something on this. It's kind of
eat
crazy.
That, you 10xers. Yeah. Everybody's advertising 10x. Yeah. I do 25x. Come on.
But it's good and it's true. It's like what's the alternative to that, right? If you're writing business on the leads, it's again not the cost of the lead at $350. It's the cost of now that's a $500,000 deal. I'm not going to have. That's $1 million deal. I'm not going to have. That's
so you have the cost of not spending money on good leads. You have the cost of not doing marketing and branding. By the way, we are incredible at marketing and branding. And let me rephrase that completely. My team is incredible at marketing and branding. I do not do logos. I do not do websites. I wouldn't even know where to start. I could sketch one, but that's about it. But it's incredible what they do. It's, as a matter of fact, we had a logo done with one of my companies, and it turns out that the color they used, because I remember looking at the color and I'm going, I don't know. Well, trust me, this is the best color. It turned out that was the #1 marketing color for the year. Wow. Because 2022, I saw all these websites having this same color. And I'm like, what is going on? They had that way before 2021 was even around.
They were ahead.
They were way ahead of the game. So we have an incredible marketing company. Well, it's one we own, but they partner with it. And you know what? God, they're going to hate me for this. I'm going to do it anyway. If you call in and mention podcast, okay, podcast, that's all you have to do, or the Annuity Sales Coach, I'll take that $7,500 and I'll knock it down to $5,000 for a complete branding package.
I mean, you can tell them.
I own the company just because
That's
people.
pretty generous.
That is very generous, but that's how important. I mean, who's going to knock off? Remember, if you know what it takes to get my team to build an entire website and branding, that is super cheap. I just had someone tell us that they charge $15,000 to do a website, a logo, and an intro video. I'm like, we charge half that. Yeah. And now I'm telling you, and we do it. Yeah.
I know the team. I've seen their stuff. It's really good.
So $5,000, mention the Annuity Sales Coach when you talk to, actually reach out to Caleb, and you'll hold me accountable for that, because I am notorious for this. They said you could get $2,500 off. I'm like, oh, when did I talk about that? Oh, no, you really said that. Yeah. Oh, okay. So he knows I said that, but it's that important to me. And if you're not part of our organization, why do I care what your logo looks like?
Yeah, it's true.
And when you know what I make in annuities, why would I do something that's going to take my team hours and hours and hours and hours for $5,000? You know, that's not for my benefit. That's to make our industry look better and better, because
we have to.
We do.
It's. I mean, that's where the leave behind kit came from. For goodness sake.
Yes.
I mean, you were up against a big brokerage firm, and they had all these nice things, and you're sitting there with your black
clip
folder,
art,
whatever, and it's
black
like,
folder with my printed clip art logo, and I'm going, man, how did I even write 15 million? Because at that year I wrote probably 12, 15 million, and I couldn't believe it. But now you do Chad Owen Annuities, Chad Owen Safe Money, Chad Owen Retirement. You can see my stuff is really good. Yeah. And remember, this is not me taking credit for it. This is the quality of our creative team.
Yeah. Is there a threshold that you feel like where there would be certain things that would be worth an agent doing in their own time? Like, is there like a capital there? I mean,
wait, I do need to say something. Yeah. Sorry. That offer will only be valid until we get stacked up. So I'm not going to have my team go, okay, we got 10 marketing plans we're going in our website. I just have to clarify that, because I could easily see them getting buried really, really quick.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we have a lot of, I have 22,000 people, I think, on LinkedIn. 22, 23, something like that. And we have thousands and thousands that listen to our podcast. So I do have to specify. There's your little disclaimer. So if you want to do that, call in right away and get that taken care of. Reach out to Caleb, get that taken care of. Okay, back to your question.
Yeah. So the question is there a threshold there where it would make sense for an agent to figure out how to do something on their own in their own time rather than spending the money on it? Or even from a capital perspective and an investment perspective, like it just makes sense to have it done professionally from the jump. I mean, I'm thinking about most businesses don't get started without capital.
Yeah, but the thing is, I always will refer back to the expert.
Yeah.
I mean, even when I was just getting started, I talked to people that were experts in the industry, and there has never been a time in my life where I could have called myself a logo and website expert. Sure. So I don't think so.
You know, it's funny. I'm thinking just logically about just the way I'm wired, right? I'm a pretty personable guy, extroverted. I don't have problem striking up conversation with new people.
Sometimes at an awkward level, but anyway.
If I were an agent that had limited capital, I personally would be more inclined to spend that on making my company and my brand look the right way than even on leads. And I would figure out a free way to go and do marketing. I would door knock or something if I didn't have the capital to buy leads.
Well, because you'll definitely get more people actually using you if you have lower quality leads but a higher presence than you would a higher presence and lower presence and a higher quality lead. Oh. And so, wow, that was pretty darn quick. Yeah. Well, that probably means our timer's up there. But let's cover a couple more things. So yeah.
But that was a big piece there, was like, what are the things? And realistically, that's just where I sit. Mm-hmm. I would rather have a professional team do my brand development, my creative works, and me go and do something that I'm good at, just talking with people and not have marketing expense. But you can literally apply this same concept to everything. Yeah. And I mean, it's the idea of hiring a appointment setter for you. You're like, I'm not going to have somebody calling my leads because it's not the $50 extra or $100 extra to book an appointment or per lead. It's the cost of if they miss one that would have been a deal that you would have got.
And the old Chad would have said they don't like making calls, but the new and improved Chads say, I like making calls. So
it's a mental shift.
I'm trying to get the mental shift, because if you don't come in with the right attitude, you're not going to have the right result. Yeah. And so I'm very grateful that I get to make calls, because that means I have leads. And so I need to look at that differently and be very thankful for the opportunity that I have and not have that junk attitude going into that. And so I just, when I went on vacation just recently, I was thinking about that. And well, there you go. If I wasn't on vacation, there's generally times I don't think about stuff like that because my brain isn't free enough. Right. But I remember just sitting there going, man, I could be pretty ungrateful at times to say, I hate making calls. No, you know what? I'm getting to the point, like even today, even though I've been dealing with TSP and on hold forever, I still am actually looking forward to making calls. And when I came in this morning with that mindset, I called from 9 to 10:30. Right. I picked up 6 appointments in those calls.
It's amazing what and I can't help but think that when you have, you're not carrying that weight of, I don't want to do this. Yeah. It shifts the inflection, the tone, the way you sound on the phone, increases the excitement level. Yep. Naturally, people are drawn to an excitement. Of course. It makes sense to me that it would only benefit the appointment rate there.
Well, I think that wraps it up. And once again, you got to be careful how much money you won't spend on something that will, in the long run and even short run, cost you an enormous amount. So I hope this helps you. You have a great day. And of course, happy selling.